Hi everyone, my name is Arma MP Reynolds and I am the founder and owner of a special needs law practice called MSR Legal and Consulting Services. I have offices in Queens and Long Island, and the focus of my practice is to ensure that children with disabilities have access to a free and appropriate special education. So to that end, I focus on making sure their rights are enforced under the federal laws, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as the IDEA, when the acronym is spelled out, and also Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. And so that's where 504 accommodations plans come in, and also certain rights to equal access to education and to be free of disability discrimination and retaliation. MSR Legal, my firm, is named after my three daughters, Madison, Scarlett, and Riley. Like your children, I'm sure mine have their own unique set of needs and unique set of learning needs. And the goal as a parent is the same as my goal as an attorney, is to make sure that my clients and my children's programs are appropriately developed based on accurate, up-to-date data that really targets what their needs are and is created with the goal in mind of remediating whatever delays or deficits that that are impacting the child's education, and really hopefully putting them on the path to leading a fulfilling, successful, and independent life. So my goals as a parent and as an attorney are ultimately the same. And in fact, I did have a client promise me that I would advocate for her child as I would advocate for my own. And so that promise I made to her always stuck with me. And that's something that, I carry with me for each parent that chooses me to represent them and their children. So the goal of these weekly chats on YouTube is it's kind of an offshoot of the blog that I started a year ago when the pandemic first began. So out of sheer frustration and probably fear, when the schools, at least in New York, closed rather abruptly in mid-March, I started blogging. I started blogging about and I blogged for each day that the schools were closed between March and the end of June in 2020. So that period alone was about 75 school days. So it's 75 posts, and then I've gone on to post about more recent developments in that area. But my purpose in creating that blog was twofold. One, I wanted to highlight the number of days that our children may have been experiencing learning loss or regression, or not receiving live education as contemplated in their IEPs. I really wanted to quantify what that looked like in a day-for-day manner. And I also used the blog as an opportunity to really highlight the breadth of special education law, the breadth of this practice, that it's not just about 13 different classifications, but there's just a whole range of services and rights that a lot of parents may not be privy to, and just may not even realize are available to them and their children. So definitely check out that blog on my website, www.msrlegal.org. There's a tab that you can click on called Special Needs Parenting and the Coronavirus Pandemic, and so you'll be able to see all of the blogs that I've written since March 2020. Also on my website is a book your consultation tab. And so if you like this video, interested in learning more about special education rights and what your child, may be entitled to under the law, you can book a consultation up to 25 minutes on my website, and let me know where you found me. Let me know that it was from my YouTube page, my YouTube channel rather, and I'd be happy to speak on the phone or have a Zoom meeting. Okay, so I want to mention a little bit about the important aspects of my practice, and then get into the biggest weekly development out of Washington this week, which is the COVID relief bill that was signed into law yesterday by President Biden. So in terms of my practice and the what I focus on, there are three, I guess, major principles or tenets that I live by in the world of special education. So one is customized education. We all know that the IEP is sort of the bedrock of that, but I take things further, and I want to make sure that the IEP itself is customized to your child's needs. So, I don't want to see sort of template goals for certain disabilities or children that are characterized in a certain way, based on their disabilities. I really want to see the IEP reflect your child, their strengths, their weaknesses, and of course the goals should be developed with the aim of remediating any losses or deficits or delays. The second tenet is medical legal partnerships. So that's a fancy way of saying, build your team, build a team around your child, and that team is supposed to help you advocate for your child's needs. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an attorney. It could be your child's neurologist, therapist, developmental pediatrician. It could be the regular pediatrician. It could be an aunt, an uncle. But the whole purpose with medical legal partnerships is to, really ensure that you're going into any setting where your child is going to be receiving services, that you're going into that setting fully prepared, prepared with data that's up to date, that is accurate, that makes sense to whoever's reading it, and that can be translated into an IEP, a program that will enable your child to make progress. So that is super important to me. I'm the daughter of a pediatrician, and I cannot stress enough the importance of getting proper evaluations. And then the third tenet, which is, last but certainly not the least, of my practice, MSR Legal, is community education. So through community education, which is really what I'm doing right now, I do feel it's really important to spread the word about your children's rights, your rights as parents, because it can only help society. The more informed families are, the more informed school districts are, the more informed special ed and health professionals are, the better I believe society will be on this issue, that every child, no matter how they function, no matter how they learn, has value and has a purpose and has a place in our world, and should really be nurtured so that they can go on after high school and lead as productive and independent a life as possible. So those are my three tenets: customized education, medical legal partnerships, and also community education, spreading the word, like I'd like to say. So that brings us to the big news coming out of Washington this week, which is the COVID relief bill that was signed into law. And, as a special needs attorney and parent, it was important to me to kind of figure out, so how does this impact us specifically as as members of the special needs community? So I was able to pull a couple of items, not a lot, but a couple, and it's a start. It's a start. So I believe there will be some childcare assistance, and that's important to all families, especially families, of course, that may not actually be able to find childcare through the usual or typical venues. And then I believe there's an expansion of AmeriCorps, the National Service Program, and a component of that would be, I believe, training members to be tutors. So there is a national recognition that the pandemic has impacted students' learning in a negative way, has adversely impacted it, and there should be a remedy. So in terms of what I've been able to accomplish over the past year, I have been busy, but I'm really proud of the successes that I've been able to get for my clients. So from independent educational evaluations such as neuropsychological evaluations, independent speech and language evaluations, functional behavior assessments, FBAs as they're called, performed by board certified behavior analysts. I've been able to get privately funded behavior intervention plans that are more robust and more detailed than what the school district was able to provide. I've been able to get specialized reading on the IEP with Orton-Gillingham goals, one-to-one private tutoring, special needs tuition at special needs school, where the private school was able to deliver instruction in a manner that the child was able to receive, and in a way that the school district could not. I've got in court-ordered injunctions mandating rather in-person learning, where the district was not necessarily offering that for the child. And compensatory related services, your speech, your OT, PT counseling, and ABA as a component of a necessary component of the child's educational program. For those of you who don't know, ABA is applied behavior analysis, typically, but not only, but typically available for children on the autism spectrum. So that is just a little tidbit of what is possible for you as a parent as a result of this pandemic. And I think it's just so important for families to not be afraid to ask for what they may be entitled to under the law, with the purpose of ensuring that your child is being served appropriately in his or her public school setting, or by the school district. So again, I leave you with my website, www.msrlegal.com.org msrlegal.org, not com. Encourage you to book a consultation on my website, and hope you join me again next Friday for another chat like this to discuss whatever new development is happening in the world of special education. Thanks again. Bye-bye.